Good morning, guys. Today we're going to talk about using Formative in the classroom. And I know y'all are high school teachers, but these can work on middle school and elementary as well. But we're not going to be spending our time this morning creating Formatives that much because that's the easy part. We're going to talk about why you should use Formative, how it can change your classroom, and here are the points we're going to make on our agenda. So we have teacher versus student pace. That's two different settings that can really make or break your day. Megan and I use both of them in different ways. Question types, there's several. So students can show their learning in many different ways, not just multiple choice, but matching, fill in the blank. They can even speak into it, tons of different ways. There's practice sets, lessons, and common assessments. We're going to talk about that briefly. Those are new in a sense. And how to create your classes, and you can add your co-teachers. That way they can see that data. They can leave your students individual feedback as well. And you can assign this on Formative and Google Classroom. We both do that. It helps the students to stay organized and not confused. And like I said, we're going to spend a few moments creating Formatives, and then we'll let you ask us any questions.
This might would have worked better if I would have given you the student login and not the teacher login. So we'll try that again.
Good deal. Okay, so this is the why. Why are we using Formative? Why do we believe in it? Why do we want you to use it too? So real-time data, I'm an English person. I am not good with numbers. That is it's something I'm not confident in. But Formative makes that easy for me. It gives me the real-time data. I don't have to crunch numbers myself after class or after school. I can fix the problem right then and there live during class time. Differentiation, there's so many different features that special ed teachers can use as well as regular ed teachers to meet the needs of all students. We have data-driven instruction, and that goes right along with that real-time data. We can make changes right there in class time. Student pace and teacher pace, which Megan will talk more about that in a moment, and the variety of question types.
Okay, so we're going to pretend right now that you are the students want to send you a bell ringer. Right now we're in teacher pace mode, which is how I always start the lessons. And every day my students have something that they do on, and it goes along with my slideshow. Every day it's a question that they have on my slideshow. And I will send them a form as teacher pace because if I press the button and all at once, they see every question they want to answer my answers. And I don't want to do that. I only want them to answer the question that I'm currently talking about. So I'm going to unroll the slideshow. This is exactly how it works. Students, they can't see it anymore. If you need to see it, then you can go on.
And
As a teacher, what I would do from here, and I'm going to drag it over for you all to see, is I'm looking at their answers. So on the teacher end, which I usually am standing kind of like real clear around with my I look at my data from there. I usually don't have it This isn't a question that has a right or wrong answer. I set that just to give you like maybe this was a bell ringer and it was multiple choice and the correct answer was C. I can click the C, we got the correct answer and D, the correct answer. And then that's going to help me know who I was reporting for RTI. If a lot of students miss it, then I will stop right then and do a mini lesson. If only one or two missed it, then I would pull a hot question to keep everybody else busy. I would pull just those few kids and I would work with them. If I had a co-teacher, then I could move on with the hot question while my co-teacher done a quick little RTI.
And I know you said you take them to that designated spot back in the back
For
of the
me,
room.
my RTI is right here at this board, so they just kind of all come and stand right there with me.
It's just natural. It's not a big
It's not, and I would
Deal.
never show this to my kids, but I know who are right and who aren't.
But like she said, if you're watching this video, she usually will walk around the room. This is what I do in my classroom with it on our Chromebook. That way we can see it live. We know what's going on, and we can leave comments. We're going to talk about batching. Do you want to talk about that? Not yet. But we'll talk about that in a minute, why it's so powerful. Okay.
What I would like to do is if, well, right now I'm not
And like you said, this goes right along with our daily slides. So everything is pre-prepared, no hiccups.
And while y'all answer that, I'm gonna pull this back over, and I'm gonna show you how in real time I could be watching you type in your answers.
Yeah, she knows immediately who's on the right path and who's not.
So one thing that you can also do here in like a short answer question, it's really hard to set a answer key for a short answer question. In math, I can do it easily because they're just going to get a numerical answer. It's
Right.
10. I can copy the 10, and I know quickly it's going to filter out who got 10 or not. For most other subjects, it's not so easy, but I could really quick. I could read this, I can click on it, and I can pull it over to the side. And say, that's a really good answer. I'm going to give you a 1. Maybe you missed something here, and I'm going to say, well, I'm going to give you 0.75, and I'm going to add a comment. I'm going to say, what I teach, let's help it spell right.
You good?
And glad that pop up and show you that. So instantly, I can give that feedback individually to my kids without having to call out and say, Blake, can you answer
Yes.
more on that? Could you add a little bit more to that for me? So it's kind of giving them some help without calling them out.
And
What do you think?
I do too. As a student in the math class, I was always the one that needed extra help. And I didn't really care to raise my hand, but sometimes I didn't want to. I didn't want that attention on me because I remember in class, other kids would be like, shh, don't you already have it by now? We're ready to move on. But if I would have had, as a student, this type of online platform, I think it would have helped my confidence levels instead of, being nervous about making other students annoyed with me. But, okay.
And while I am doing the hot question, while everyone else who has registered hot question, we are pulling, either me by myself or my co-teacher are pulling to do that RTI. And I typically don't have those students do the hot question unless they just get done with it really fast and there's time left. But that gives you an easy way, especially if you're the only person in the room, it gives you an easy way to have them busy, hold them accountable for something while also doing that extra work that you need to do with those students. So I like to have a daily slideshow every day. It just keeps me organized. I don't forget to talk about anything that I knew I was going to. It walks me through my bell ringer, my notes, assignment, all the way to my exit slip. So on this slide, we're kind of pretending that it's my notes. I was going to talk about area and perimeter. I would do that guided practice problem with them. Sometimes we might do 2 guided practice problems, and then when I think that they're ready, I will send them an independent practice problem, which I'm going to send you now. You're pretending that it's that time in the lesson, so you should be seeing that on your computers now. And for every question, I have you notice I'm trying to add in a different type of question to show you all the different ways that you can send things to them. So this one is a fill in the blank. Just a little square or something. It's in there is a math function, and
I have no clue.
you have to specifically enable that, and I have to count on this one. So what I teach my kids to do is the caret key, which is shift 6.
While you're talking to her, I want to point this out. This right here is showing you the teacher pace, right? This right here. But if you use Pear Deck at all, Brandy, do you use Pear Deck? I know you've seen me do it. Well, in language arts, I use it often for extended responses, and that is similar to Pear Deck. So if you are a Pear Deck user, you'll catch on pretty quickly with the teacher pace versus student pace.
Teacher pace, I can take you back to a question, I can move you forward to a question. What'd you ask?
Perimeter.
Would it be 10 times 6 and then the answer is whatever squared?
For which one?
For the one about the cover it.
The fence
It's talking
would be,
about all of
would
the
be
space.
perimeter, so it would be top, bottom, left.
Yeah, the enclosure, but then the other one you multiply
Yes,
because
that would be
that's
area.
still,
Yeah.
And then you can also pause it. So like if that was a question that my kids had, I would pause that right then so that they couldn't type in their answers while I was talking. I knew I could like put the focus back on me.
And that's what it looks like. Paused.
I can unpause it. They could type their answers in.
See, so you'll know immediately if you're paused or.
So now I can come back
back over to my teacher view. I can click up to number 3 here. I'm seeing some good stuff. This one is just kind of wrong blankings in my answer key. I just put your
Oh, okay.
And that's something I tell the kids, like I would just say, put your number in. But I could, real quick, for you, have let Brandy leave yours. I could come here, since you have gifts, and I could just quickly go on ahead and say, she got that right. You know, I just didn't have it squared in my answer, but I could go on ahead and give you full credit for that. So that's an easy little fix there. Next slide. And then just to practice here, I'm gonna pull back up my teacher pace view for just a second. This would be like, pretend it's the time in the lesson that we're gonna do the exit slip. On my teacher pace view, I would just simply click next. And it's gonna pop up the next question for you all.
I just love the slides. You know, like everything's prepared, everything's ready to go. Yes, we're big slides people. But like you said, it keeps us organized. You know, we have everything ready to go, over plan.
Yes. You can practice dragging those. This is another one I really like, the drag and drop.
I've never done a drag and drop on here, so I'm gonna try that. Yes, because I did multiple choice every day as bell ringers, and it's always comprehension, but it's always multiple choice for the bell ringer.
One thing that you'll notice on my view down at the bottom is that like Blake's is red. If he gets to the point where he has the majority correct, but some of them are still wrong, then it will turn orange. And then of course if he has them all correct, then it will be green. And if I want to see specifically what he's done here, then I can just click on his name to see exactly which ones.
I love
You
that.
don't have to actually do all those, I was just showing
Oh,
you that
I was reading
another
them.
option of question.
Brandy wants to learn right now.
You all have turned to an orange now, so that's telling me that you've got some correct.
Okay, so a point is a location in space.
And that's just so powerful because as you're teaching, you know
Array
what they're getting. You don't have to guess. You know, like, oh, they're getting it, they're not getting it.
because that's array. That goes there.
I felt she's committed to this, I'm just gonna let her finish.
She really likes it.
You've all got it, both of you got it.
I'd be tuning that
I
out.
like math.
I know, I don't understand that. Grace is with me.
Okay, so when you go to add a question, this is the screen that pops up when you're on Formative. The first thing if you look on the left is content types, and those are things you as the teacher adds. It's not a question for the kids to answer. But this kind of goes into differentiation. So you know you have kids that need a reader. You could go on ahead and read the passage, and it could be your voice reading it to them.
And that makes such a difference instead of that automated voice.
Yeah, because they hate that.
So that's there. You can embed other websites or things, images, paired passages, slides. I don't love the slides. I never use that feature. I don't find it to be as nice as me having my own slideshow. One thing that I find weird about one is you can have a slide and you can't have a question on your slide. So I don't use that feature. You can have a text, you could add a video, so those are just options that you can add.
The paired passages is great for language arts. Like, I absolutely love that. I focus on that weekly. Yes.
Everything else are questions that you can add so you can see all the different types. It's not like, I do like Google Form, but there's not this many
Right.
that they can do. They can add an audio response.
And
Graphing is new for math, and a lot of things that I always say is like math is its own island. I know that really doesn't apply to either one of you all, but with the numeric function and the graphing down at the bottom, it opens up a lot of things that none of the other websites have.
that's a game changer. Hot text. You said that was the new one.
It is newer, and it's really cool because it's kind of like short answers, so this is good for you. They have to answer a whole, like a
Extended
paragraph.
response.
So you're going to type in kind of some things that you want to hear in that answer, just like hot phrases and things, and it's going to filter those phrases out and grade on that. So you don't have to actually sit down and grade on them. Maybe you want them to talk about, I know nothing about social studies, so I can't pull anything off like the top of my head.
The Great Depression.
And so if you type in the Great Depression, you type in specific names, specific days. it's going to
Geography.
look at those and filter those out and grade on that.
I can't wait to use that function. That's going to save me a lot of time because I do extended responses all the time. And I usually do that on Pear Deck because they can watch it live anonymously. But I'm excited to use hot text because that's going to save me time.
One thing that I really like is free response is up in the graphing, if you'll point over it.
I don't even see it, Megan.
Second column over, up in the bottom.
Under field reply.
You all had me like on the spot. Oh, got nervous.
Have to give you an audio response, or if you click short answer, it's not have to. But if you click free response, it gives them lots of different options for them to answer. They can upload a video or an audio, or they could write a passage, they could draw something out. So it
Yes.
takes a lot of those and it filters them into one and gives them options of how they.
And I'm glad you mentioned that because I was thinking about audio response. We have these students in our class who want to talk about everything, want to answer every question, and they kind of drive you crazy. But if you let them do audio response, that gives them that outlet to talk to you. And then on the other hand, you have the shy students who do not want to talk out loud, but that's giving them that as well. Yeah. I love that.
Luke told me last year with social studies, he had them make like a 30-second commercial, talk about whatever topic, and they just uploaded it as a video file and forwarded it.
That's so easy. Easy.
Oh, okay. So these are some new features. When you click to add a question, you see the page that I just showed you. This is what pops up here. And then right underneath that, you will see these 3 items. So one is AI. I don't really use that a whole lot. I'm just so sorry.
I don't really use it either. I do too.
To show you this, I'm going to add it up.
Because sometimes it's too easy and you can make harder, but it's still not what I want it to be.
Add a new question. I've got all this stuff that we just talked about. This is just the ones that you just recently used. These are what we just talked about. Luke uses this all the time. You can choose what type. Like maybe I want it to be a text passage. Maybe I want it to be on Constitution, 10th grade. I want it to be
Different world. Yeah. Well, Megan's bell ringing out that. I'm like, do I really have to figure that out? Which is really cool. For a new teacher, I think that would be game changing.
especially if you don't have the thing.
The resources. Yeah, I'm like you though. I remember making one for Romeo and Juliet, and I tried to use the AI, and I just was not pleased with it. But
Luke uses it a lot, and he really likes it. And you can, like when I do it for math, and I won't make y'all watch it, but it will give me several question types, and then underneath each question, I was like, pick this one, give me something easier, give me something harder. So you get lots of options. The next thing it has is, I'll switch over and talk about this one first. Use something that you've already made, search an existing document. So you know you have something that you already really like. You could find a document, like I really like this question, I want to reuse it. I could just go on ahead and add it and pull it from there, which saves you some time. And then you can upload your own document. Have you used that one yet? So you know how that works.
I've transferred stuff before.
did you have AI create more questions for the document?
I have done that before, but a lot of the AI questions are really
Simple.
really hard.
Or really easy? Yeah.
And so, no, I haven't done a whole lot of that. The only other thing is you can't lock it down. You know what I mean? Like they can access other stuff. And so I don't ever use it like for test purposes
Right.
for that reason.
Right.
But I have used it for, like.
Right. Instead of Cami. Like I tried this instead of Cami and I liked it.
Yeah, I like it.
It's something different.
So I have and you all don't have to like
I
take the
still
time
use
to answer
it.
all of
I do
them.
too.
I was never the teacher. It was a lot of front end work for me.
I
that did not like it.
try not to I don't do a whole heck of a lot of stuff on paper.
I mix.
Now for math,
I do a lot of it.
Yeah. Well, they can mark it out.
You have too for
Yeah.
that. But like for me, like I don't really hold a lot of stuff on paper.
I just do a mix, but like, well, I know like Ready Common Core books, the middle schools have them, and whenever I would use, you know, we don't have enough books for every child, but we have the online version saved. I would put it in Camere on here because it's like 8 pages to print, and that's terrible. So I would use it on here.
When I sign every day, I like to sign my document at the beginning of every single morning. The first thing I do is I come over here and I click this down arrow and I click teacher pay session so that it automatically pauses it for my kids until I'm ready for them. Now I'm going to open that back up to a student pay session, and you guys are going to see the whole document. But within that, I added a PDF document. Not that you have to go through and truly answer all of them, but I want you to see the different types of questions within that.
Oh yeah, the internet went out on mine.
It was great. Can you just hit next? We already talked about it. So this is just showing you that it's a worksheet I've already got. I just pulled that in. So I'm using something that I already have, but it's gonna grade it for me. You just hit next. But you said that you've used this before. The next page over, like you're already on it, right? If you'll go to the next page.
It's like it's 30 degrees.
And then you would just go back up to that text box and you type in however many degrees it is. And I've already set my answer key, so then it's gonna tell me if you're right or wrong. There's a little X in the corner. We're done, sorry. It used to be an X, I think they better do it.
You have to find complete
We've done that,
questions.
you just go back up and you put your answer in.
You want me to submit it anyway?
You can submit it, yeah.
Okay, because it said I had mine. Oh, I got a 0 first.
So one thing that I like to do is if I have a document that they're typing in and it's not ABCD, then I will go ahead and set my settings to tell them instantly if they're right or wrong. And if you are at the main top, you see these circles, they will light up green or red to tell them. So that's really nice because they're having to self-correct and they don't have to say every time, will you check this, am I right? They know if they're right, and then they can go ahead and work on it again if they're wrong. And just a rule that I tell them at the beginning of the year that we live by is if you miss it once, try to fix it yourself, because that's important to work through that and catch your own mistakes. If you miss it twice, ask for help. And they could ask me, they could ask a friend, they could ask another adult in the room. A few more features that they've given you this year when you go to start a brand new document is a lesson, and that's more along the slides that we talked about. I don't love it and I don't use it. You can, if you already have like Google Slides, you can input those in. Then your slide has to be a page and your question has to be the next page, and I don't like that. I'd rather my question be right there with it. So I don't use that. Practice sets are just flashcards, and you can make those yourself or AI can generate those for you. Common assessment is if you have any document that you've made on Formative, you can share that. If Blake's my teacher, I'll share it with Blake, and he could use it. Or if me and you talk the same class, I share it with you like I share it with Shade, and he uses it as well. And what's really cool is whenever our kids answer it, I can see my kid scores and his kid scores, and we can break them into my questions. So if all my kids is number 2, but his kid's done really good, that's somehow how he's taught it different than I taught it. And we'll get together, and that has happened. It happens a lot with math, and we have to say what strategy did you use, because there's lots of strategies. And we'll talk about it that way. You can do that already with any assignment. They just now made it called common assessment. I don't use that because I don't want to have to go into a different tab to find my test. I'd rather just be filtered in with all the stuff I already have. And it already does what you can already do anyway. I don't really know why they made a new name for that, but that's what that is. The next thing we're talking about is adding a classroom. But if you have used Formative, you know how to add import from Google.
I do. Yeah, but how do I add like
Your co-teacher.
If he, down there at the bottom, is already added, this is Google Classroom. And if you have already added him before you sync,
it gets me that I have this here?
add your co-teacher before you sync up through Google. and it automatically pulls them in. So on your screen, if you're her co-teacher, you log into your formative, and if she's already assigned it, it'll pop up at the top for you. And you just click on it and you can see all the same data that you can see. I don't know if you've noticed this is formative, but if you get a new student and you go back through all those steps of syncing through Google, it doesn't actually import the student. You have to scroll through and find the name and click on it. And that's a little cumbersome. I'm not for sure why it does that, but you do have to specifically click on the new student's name. And then we don't have anything else. We just left this open for if anybody wants to try to, I don't know, make it formative or ask.
I didn't talk about the bell ringer data that I drew up there. I forgot about it. So I just draw this on my board every day, and it's just a little friendly competition, and no one gets a prize. It's just bragging rights, and really it works. They get really excited if they win. But I put today and yesterday, so as each class passes, I will put their average up on the board, and at the end of the day, I'll write the winner down. So they will see yesterday's winner and today's data as well. And you can tell, and I did make those up, but it's always very close in percentage. So it's never like embarrassing for one class, okay? Because that's not the goal, to make it like, oh gosh, first period, you know, they're not as smart as us, you know, so that's not the goal. But it's just a friendly competition, and it really works.